So after day 3 of the second test in Barbados, it's time for Ask George. Is it too early to shake hands for a draw? This isn't going anywhere soon. That's from Simon Stokes.
I mean, you have to say no, don't you? You have to say that there's 180 overs left and anything can happen. It's a funny old game, but I dearly wish they would. Because there are lovely beaches in Barbados and I've not seen any of them.
Given the fickleness of test selection and the 2 pitches so far in this series, will Saki Mahmood ever take a test wicket? That's from Danny.
Yeah, sure he will. Sorry, who was that from?
Danny.
Okay, well, sure he will, Danny. I thought actually showed why he could today. I thought he did lots right, and I actually thought that the wicket that wasn't exactly showed the sort of skills that you need. You know, he bowled a set batter on a flat wicket. I thought that was terrific. He overstepped by, half an inch, less than that maybe. So frustrating, of course, but I thought he showed the skills to suggest he could have a really good international career, test career even. So yeah, sure, I think he was probably the pick of the Seavers, wasn't he?
If this was a timeless test, how many days would that be in Barbados, and would we even make it to Grenada? That's from Lime Bay Robin.
I don't know, but there are so many better things to do with your time in Barbados. Look, I think it's a really poor pitch. I think it's a disappointing pitch. I think that there should be lots of attention given to why they're producing such pitches. I think it's a bit of a slap in the face to thousands of spectators who spent thousands of pounds to be here. I think the Barbados Cricket Association should answer those difficult questions.
The broadcasters here at BT Sport, they're getting dragged in very easily into any modicum of grip or turn off the pitch, anything. Do you think sometimes we get drawn in by those little things when we should be sort of looking at the wider picture?
Well, I think it is fair to say that this is a fairly inexperienced and not particularly vintage England attack as well. So whether, other sides would have done better, it's slightly hard to say. I suspect all sides would have struggled. I suspect that any bowler you could think, I expect Murray would have had a hard time out there. I expect Warren would have had a hard time out there. So there is a little bit of turn, you're right, but it's very slow. And it gives the batters plenty of time to adjust. So, look, I think it's been a pitch designed to keep people here for 5 days. And it will.
Is this series a sign of improvement from England's batting, or is this just about placid pitches and an average West Indies attack? That's from Steve Morris.
I think the West Indies attack's better than average. But yeah, you make a point about the pitches. I think it's a step in the right direction. I really do. I thought that Dan Lawrence played with selflessness and intelligence. Joe Root's obviously fantastic. And we've seen very good innings from Johnny Bairstow and Ben Stokes at different times. So I think that it is fair enough to say there has been some improvement. But yeah, you're right. Those caveats have to be there. It's 89 in the world, and they're playing on poor, very slow wickets. So it would be insane to say England have nailed it. Bring on Australia. But no one is, are they?
James Carroll asks, do you think there's a crisis of pitch quality across the world at the moment?
Yeah, actually, I hadn't thought of it before. I must tell you, just quickly, one of the cleaners was going behind us just now and said garbage. And of course, we hadn't really noticed they were there, and I thought someone was just reading my piece behind my back. It's been a tough day to write something about this. Do I think that there's yeah, I do actually. I think that's a really good point. I think we've seen pitches which probably help the home side too much. We've seen that in England, we've seen that in India. And we've seen very dead wickets, certainly in Pakistan of late and in the Caribbean now. So I think it's a huge issue. When England last went to New Zealand, I thought those pitches were desperately boring. Boring. But you could argue that is old school Test cricket. I'm not sure that's what the world's crying out for. But I guess different people have different tastes. I mean, I got a lot of flack for saying that in New Zealand, but I did note that if you added up all the New Zealand spectators, you could probably fit them in the back of a family car. So the thing is that grounds have to be careful with this stuff, because the England supporters come in great numbers. But they won't always. They won't always if you treat them like this. And they won't always as well for lots of other reasons, such as the days of final salary pensions are gone, and people aren't going to travel the world. Well, they aren't going to be able to afford to. Have you looked at what your pension's worth? So the world will change, and it really doesn't pay to disrespect the customer. I think that this is a disrespectful service. Doesn't, I say again, the game could finish. There could be a win for either side still at this point. I don't think that justifies what's gone before. It's quite turgid cricket. You take Ben Stokes' incredible innings out of this game. It's been professional, and you can't blame the players for that. You know, Joe Root's innings was a model of professional batting, but it wasn't invigorating, it wasn't exciting in the same way that Ben Stokes was. And that's not his fault. It's the tools he's given to play with out there on that surface. And I think it's a real shame. You know, it's so lovely to see so many people in the ground again after all this time. I think they deserve a wee bit better. They seem to be having a great time, to be fair, but I think you understand what I'm saying. It costs thousands of pounds to come here, and there's so many competing demands in time and money. And if people look back, I remember a game out here in, I think it was 2008 or 9. England got 600, West Indies got 700. It was tedious. It was really boring. And this isn't as bad as that wicket. But it's on a scale, and it's not miles away.
Slim Charles asks, will this tour be remembered more as the Barmy Army holiday?
Well, that's not so bad. I mean, you're allowed to enjoy it. That's good, isn't it? Yeah, maybe. But that's okay, isn't it? It's lovely. I think it's brilliant. And they've pumped masses of money. Everywhere you go, to coin a Barmy Army phrase, everywhere you go on this tour, the local people and local businesses are so pleased. I have no time for people to criticise the Barmy Army. And if they want to sing and drink all day, absolutely fine. You see almost no trouble from them. Good as gold. Just what cricket needs. Having too many people having too much fun at the cricket is the least of this sport's problems.
Joshua Owen asks, why don't the ICC consider a Test World Cup?
Well, there's a long answer and a short answer. The short answer is bilateral series pay them more individually. And if you notice, India, Australia and England are always playing each other nearly all the time. They're never more than, 6 feet away from one of those series. So it would take a lot of time to do that. So you'd have to share the broadcast rights. You would have time in the schedule which turned into dead time. It's quite a nice idea, but I don't think it particularly works. Does that make sense?